A well-known expert has indicated that Apple might boost the RAM available on the iPhone 17 series, but there's a potential disadvantage. In a recent blog post, Ming-Chi Kuo indicated that, according to his latest industry surveys, Apple was preparing to boost the RAM of the iPhone 17 Pro, iPhone 17 Pro Max, and the iPhone 17 Air to 12 gigs. Apple also intends to boost the RAM of the standard iPhone 17, but probable supply concerns have postponed that decision until May. According to the site, the projected increase in RAM is due to rising competition in the smartphone industry. However, as a downside, Ming-Chi Kuo adds that the typical selling price for a 12 gigs RAM module is roughly 50% more than for 8 gigs. This might entail a price rise for the iPhones when they ultimately reach the stores. While a price hike would be undesirable, there's no question that Apple is behind competing devices in terms of RAM. Apple has utilized 6 gigs of RAM for several generations of iPhone, only increasing the RAM available on its phones to 8 gigs for the iPhone 16 series and the iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max the year before. Now, although having so many devices with just 6 gigs wasn't a big issue for speed owing to Apple's chip design, it eventually became one when Apple wanted to integrate AI. The difficulty was that for Apple Intelligence to perform to the company's defined standard, a gadget required around 2 gigs of extra RAM. However, with most iPhones maximizing what they could with the 6 gigs, there was really no way for most devices to make advantage of Apple Intelligence. This is presumably why iPhone users, bearing those with iPhone 16s or iPhone 15 Pros, do not receive access to most of the new capabilities, which when paired with the delayed delivery of many of Apple's AI features, has irritated a lot of customers. RAM simply works as a device's short-term memory. This helps to boost the speed at which the phone can access data, instructions for executing apps, and the operating system. This, in turn, makes performance far more fluid and efficient. Now, to be fair to Apple, it manages to maintain pace with other smartphones even when operating with just 8 gigs of RAM, which is a credit to Apple's iOS and its A-series CPUs. However, when more phones come out with 16 gigs and even 24 gigs of RAM, Apple needs to take action. Not to mention Apple, having came late to the AI race, needs more power to help it catch up. It's always worth treating leaks like this with a grain of salt, but the source is quite reliable, so it's absolutely conceivable. The issue now is, if the RAM increase does materialize, how much more costly will the phones be? Apple Intelligence drives new writing tools, which help you locate precisely the right words practically anywhere you write. With expanded linguistic skills, you may summarize an entire lecture in seconds, obtain the short version of a large group conversation, and eliminate unwanted distractions with prioritized alerts. Apple Intelligence allows exciting new ways to express oneself visually, create amusing, creative photos, and brand new Genmoji that are genuinely personal to you. Turn a crude sketch into a connected picture that complements your notes using Picture Wand, and generate a personalized memory video depending on the description you supply. Produce entertaining, creative photos in seconds with the Image Playground experience directly in your applications. Create a whole unique picture based on a description, recommended themes, and even a person from your photos collection. You can quickly tweak the design and make modifications to fit a messages thread, your freeform board, or a presentation in Keynote. Experiment with new ideas and try out picture styles including animation, illustration, and Sketch One in the dedicated Picture Playground app. Create personalized photos to share with friends in other applications or on social media. Siri relies on Apple Intelligence for new abilities. With an all-new design, improved language comprehension, and the flexibility to type to Siri whenever it's convenient for you, conversing with Siri is more natural than ever. And with deep product knowledge and the ability to tap into ChatGPT when it could be beneficial to answer your query, Siri can assist you in brand new ways. Apple Intelligence is meant to safeguard your privacy at every stage. It's incorporated into the heart of your iPhone, iPad, and Mac via on-device processing. So it's aware of your personal information without acquiring your personal information. And with breakthrough private cloud compute, Apple Intelligence can call on bigger server-based models, operating on Apple hardware, to perform more sophisticated requests for you while safeguarding your privacy. For now, we will have to wait till Apple officially reveals the new version of iPhone, which we estimate to happen around September. However, there's little question that at least one of the iPhones will feature on our best phones list. Apple announced the iPhone 16 yesterday, and the handset uses Apple's first ever self-developed 5G modem, replacing the Qualcomm modems in existing iPhones. Apple will supposedly continue this pattern of building critical networking chips in-house, and a fresh story today says that the whole iPhone 17 family, arriving this autumn, will have Apple's first self-developed Wi-Fi chip. This would replace the Broadcom chips Apple now uses. The revelation comes from Ming-Chi Kuo, always in the know when it comes to Apple's supply chain in Asia. Interestingly, he observes that the iPhone 17 Air will not only employ the Apple Wi-Fi chip, but also the Apple C1 modem that made its debut with the iPhone 16e. The iPhone 17, iPhone 17 Pro, and iPhone 17 Pro Max, meanwhile, will combine Qualcomm modems with Apple's Wi-Fi chip. This is certainly a highly conscious cost reduction strategy, since in the long term investing in producing such chips in-house would save Apple a lot of money it's now paying Qualcomm and Broadcom. But according to Kuo, it's not just all about money. The transition to the in-house Wi-Fi chip would also enhance connectivity across Apple devices, whatever that means. Price may be a sticky matter for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with one analyst forecasting that the whole iPhone 17 series might become more costly after the iPhone 16 allegedly dodged a price raise by the skin of its teeth. And that was before the Trump administration suggested tariffs that might increase the iPhone 17 Pro Max's cost to $2,300. While other iPhone models haven't experienced any big price rises for years, the Pro Max model has. Apple nixed the 128 gigs iPhone 15 Pro Max, instead settling for 256 gigs of basic storage. While the 256 gigs 15 Pro Max was the same price as the 256 gigs iPhone 14 Pro Max, it still meant the price of entry was $100 greater that year, a pattern that Apple repeated with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. We're keeping a watch on how tariffs may affect the iPhone 17 costs. But for now, we wouldn't be shocked if the phone did cost more than the $1,199 iPhone 16 Pro Max price tag. While we don't know precisely when Apple will release the iPhone 17 Pro Max, it normally keeps to the same release timetable annually. Typically, Apple introduces new iPhones around the first or second week of September, with pre-orders commencing later that week. Release day normally follows a week later. We're not anticipating any huge changes with the iPhone 17 Pro Max's display, but that's not to say we may not see some things alter with the following iteration. One report indicates that the phone might arrive with a thinner dynamic island, owing to the presence of new, smaller components. Leaker Digital Chat Station explicitly calls for a smaller dynamic island for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with the assistance of a metal-lens design for Face ID. As for the design of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, things are beginning to clear up. Multiple speculations currently suggest that Apple is prepared to change the rear of its Pro models. Apple's A-series CPUs are among the finest mobile chips today, and each version has given much higher performance than its predecessor. We anticipate that tendency to continue with the A19 Pro chipset, which should appear on iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max later in the year. While there had been reports that Apple may move to a 2 nanometers technology, which would make the A19 Pro even smaller than the 3 nanometers A18 Pro, that shift presumably won't happen until the debut of the iPhone 18 at the earliest. This implies we'll be seeing 3 nanometer devices until at least 2026, probably longer, depending on how development proceeds. Instead, A19 series chips are now scheduled to be built utilizing an enhanced version of TSMC 3 nanometer technology. This should bring gains to performance and energy efficiency relative to the A18 series, although not to the same degree that adopting a 2 nanometer technology would. However, any gain to energy efficiency could imply an even better battery than we've previously witnessed on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. The greater performance may imply a hotter running processor, but happily it appears Apple's thought of that. A vapor chamber cooling mechanism, which employs liquid within a copper pipe to transport heat away from a device's most vital components, might be included to the iPhone 17 Pro versions, potentially eliminating the issue. We haven't heard much about the iPhone 17 Pro Max battery right now, but if the chip's claimed efficiency enhancements prove to be genuine, then we should see the battery life last much longer. Considering the iPhone 16 Pro Max lasted more than 17 hours in our tests, it would be a rather stunning sight to see. We've also heard reports that Apple might make iPhone 17 batteries simpler to remove, owing to a new form of adhesive. It's probable that this is the same ionic liquid battery adhesive used on iPhone 17, which enables repair personnel to remove the battery with a few volts of electricity. That makes it a lot simpler to remove than prior adhesive strips, which were cumbersome and frequently needed solvents to properly remove. Rumor has claimed that Apple may be creating its own batteries, preparing to launch them on iPhone 17. While we don't know many information regarding this development, it's reported that Apple plans to give significantly improved performance compared to the existing one, which you'd anticipate since the last thing we want is for battery life to go worse. But that's still a fantastic thing if Apple can pull it off. In addition to new or Apple-made batteries, a rumor indicates that Apple could offer reverse charging to the Pro variants of the iPhone 17. Reverse charging allows your phone charge other devices, mainly headphones like the AirPods 4. The new function would theoretically allow 7.5 charging. However, it's unclear whether Apple will strive to match the currently existent version on Samsung's Galaxy series. It's still quite early in the iPhone 17 Pro Max rumor cycle, so there's a heck of a lot we still don't know about the phone. That said, what we've heard so far is really fascinating. Upping the resolution of the telephoto lens would seem like a benefit, yet the rumor about a shorter optical zoom has us concerned. The ability to more quickly remove batteries might prove to be important should you ever need to take advantage of it. I'm unclear about the prospective design modifications, and I'd be astonished if Apple dropped the recognized square-shaped camera configuration. However, I like the Pixel design, and it would be fascinating to see how Apple can continue making their phones stand apart, especially with so many leakers stating that the new style will be occurring. Several months remain until the iPhone 17 series is slated to arrive, however, so things may change between now and then. We'll have to remain patient and see what future leaks and speculations have in store. So, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.